Good evening. We are going to, during our third podcast, which is also on Spotify, talk about the chronic illnesses and the pain that is associated with that. And there are a lot of different pain issues that come along with it. And my name is Matt Nelson, and this is
Victoria Mork. Hello, everyone.
And we're just going to get started on talking about the chronic illnesses and the pain that comes with it.
So I just want to mention, number one, that the 1 through 10 pain scale for you might be a little different than it would be for me. It would be different for Matt than it would be for me. But this is just something that I saw online and I resonated with it, and I thought it would be interesting to share with everyone. So the chronic illness pain scale, number 1 is you're in pain, but it's not super noticeable. Number 2 is a little bit more noticeable. 3 is can mostly push aside. 4 is starting to feel it more. 5, can't do some activities. Number 6 is can't do most activities. Number 7 is can't do daily activities. 8 is even hard to think. 9, pain is all I can think about. And 10, probably need the ER. I do want to mention I typically on an everyday basis sit at a number 7, which again is can't do daily activities. So I hope that kind of helps you understand where I'm at most days and why some days all I can do is get out of bed and lay on the couch. It's very frustrating, but such is life. I also want to point out these handy dandy little microphones we have. We're trying to up our quality and see where it goes.
That's correct. And so basically when you go to the hospital, they may ask you, what is your pain level, 0 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is similar, but it's also somewhat different.
Yes, absolutely it is. So there are several things we wanted to talk about. Like this one is how you can support someone living with a chronic illness or with chronic pain. And it says, and which is true, chronic pain and illness is invisible. Like if you didn't know me, unless you saw me walking, you probably wouldn't notice that I'm at a 7 right now, or that I'm not feeling great, that I'm exhausted, it's been a rough day. But you could see me walking with a cane. So it says chronic pain is invisible. But it's important to notice that even if they look fine, so even if I'm smiling and I look happy, my pain is real and currently ongoing. I think that's important to note and important for people to remember and realize. And that the symptoms fluctuate. So Matt can tell you that from experience with me is one day that happened this week actually, and why we missed a podcast last week is I was having a really rough day and so much pain and dizziness and headaches, and it seems to be different every day. But then the next day I'll have a decent day or a good day for me even, and that's when I'm at like a 5 or a 4 in the pain scale. So it's so hard to know and to make plans because we never know how I'm going to be. In fact, we're planning a trip to see his brother and sister-in-law this weekend. And we're a little nervous because we don't know how I'm going to be, if I'm going to be in a ton of pain or exhausted or super dizzy or super nauseous or all the symptoms. It's very difficult to know.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes people say the weather has something to do with the pain, and that seems to be with her as well. But a lot of it is her illness. And but usually when I am in pain, it's from TMJ where my jaw clicks. And I notice that some days when I'm under a lot of stress, or if the weather is acting up, I will have pain in my jaw. Or with me being under a lot of stress, I may be grinding my teeth, which is a pain in the butt. Gotta break that habit. But most of the time, it's for me, as I've noticed, it appears to be stress and the weather that brings on my TMJ symptoms and the pain associated with that.
Absolutely. And he's even said, oh, I bet there's a storm coming if I'm in a lot of pain that day or something. And it's true. Mm-hmm. It's very true. So the one thing I want to mention is what Like if you're a friend of mine or you know somebody in my situation or somebody similar, what could you do to help them out? First of all, I want to mention number one is to not judge. I think that's very key, is to just know that I always say, there by the grace of God go I. I mean, we're all doing the best we can. I think we all just need to be a little patient and a little kind with everyone. And so if you are wanting to help somebody out, just say, hey, what can I do to help you today? And if they say nothing, maybe just be a listening ear, or offer to bring them some coffee or some lunch, or, and then go to their house and kind of gauge, oh, I could do your dishes for you, or I could sweep or whatever. I think that's awesome. And also to educate yourself about their condition. If you're interested and want to know more, that would be perfect. If you don't know the title of it, just ask. I think I would love for somebody that I care about to say, hey, I noticed you're having a really rough day. What's the name of your illness again? I'm going to look up and see if there's anything we can do to help you out, Or if you notice they're in a lot of pain, say, do you need something to drink? Or when's the last time you took pain medicine? Or just ask if there's anything you can do. And I know, like, for myself, I would say, no, I'm okay. I don't need anything. But just being that listening ear, I think, is very important. Mm-hmm. And also, I think it's important for somebody with a disability to keep that communication open and be honest. I'm honest with him. I'm honest with my family. Like, man, today's really been a rough day. I haven't gotten anything done. Or, oh, I overdid it yesterday, which happens quite often. That's kind of the life of somebody in chronic pain. It's just, And I also wanted to mention, pain changes people. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've all been in pain. You can experience that. It can make people cruel and angry and make them, not want to talk to you, because pain is the most frustrating thing in the world. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And kind of living at a 7, you kind of are used to it, kind of, somewhat, but it also says that, like, I've developed a greater empathy for others going through this, because I know it's not a fun life to live. It's frustrating. Mm-hmm. So even when he's in pain, I'm like, oh, I totally understand. Like, not fun.
Right.
And the other thing is appreciating the little things in life. I think that's key. That is so important. And this keychain that broke, sadly, but I think it says it all. It's probably backwards for you, and the people listening on Spotify, it says, do what makes you happy. That is the truth. Mm-hmm. Life is short. We need to take the bull by the horns, if you will, and do it today. Don't wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow is not guaranteed, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And we just need to be grateful. And, I'm in pain every day, but I still try to do something, I try. Anyways, but, all right, let's see what else we have here. So this one says, so I just kind of save things on Instagram, if you're wondering about chronic pain, what people go through. Obviously, I deal with it. He deals with pain. I'm assuming everybody deals with pain. I don't know. But it says, one of the most difficult parts about living with chronic illness and pain is how motivated I am. Have lots of plans. I tell him every day, my plan is to do this, A, B, C, D. Yet I'm trapped in a body that is constantly fatigued, in pain, and in need of rest. Some days I can do the bare minimum, but experience maximum guilt. Mm-hmm. I tell him all the time, I feel so guilty. I do. I feel terrible. Like I don't know. What would you say about that?
Well, as I always tell you, you really shouldn't feel guilty, because you have a chronic illness and there's nothing you can control over that. Unless you got pain meds that do help, but some pain meds don't even help at all.
True.
And so, as I have told her, and I continue to tell her almost every day, or anybody else, it's not your fault. And we all just have to learn what to live with it and go day to day to make yourself as comfortable as possible. And, like if she's not feeling the greatest or she's in pain and she feels like getting out, sometimes she does feel a little bit better. Not completely better, but at least she knocks some numbers off.
Like getting fresh air sometimes helps.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to mention too, what can you do if you have chronic pain or pain period? I know for me, I have so many things on my list to talk to the doctor about that oftentimes pain is not even on the list. But lately I've been doing this myself. Number one, keep a pain journal or a journal period of your symptoms of that day. What was going on? Were you doing a lot? Were you not? I think it's important to write down the number out of 10, how you feel. Record your symptoms before you go to the doctor so you can give them all that information. I think it's key. What do you want to capture? So this is important. The pain location, so where you're experiencing pain. The pain intensity, so that number from 1 through 10. The pain quality, so what type of pain is it? Is it piercing? Is it burning? Is it, I don't know, what else? The pain impact, so how it impacts your daily life. I think that's what some people fail to remember, is that it does impact daily life. It's hard for me to do certain things. In fact, Matt's going to be doing a speech in Madison at the, what's it called?
I believe it's the state capitol.
The state capitol, yes. And I obviously am going to be there, and he's going to speak on my behalf, but I had to buy kind of a push wheelchair so I could sit down, because otherwise I would be in way too much pain. So it's little things like that. And the other thing you want to note down and what to capture is pain longevity. So how long it's lasting. Is it lasting the whole day or only 30 minutes? It's important to put all that down. They also mentioned focus on the feeling. So providing a thorough description of where your pain is, how you feel, will hopefully make the doctor understand what you're going through and your symptoms, and hopefully get a result. And then use the pain scale, so 1 through 10. That's very important. Also, the daily impact, how it impacts your day. That's key for me. Go ahead.
And what's important too is that we talked about this in the first or second podcast. We went and visited a doctor, and I will not say where, and I'm not going to name any names, but we really weren't talking about pain in general. But I could tell this guy was going to try to get away with indicating to both of us, especially to Victoria, that the pain doesn't really matter. And that's what I was really worried about. And we need to make sure people don't try to say, oh, it's nothing, just ignore it, blow it off, and just suck it up.
Exactly. I think that's very important. And this is a great one, and I need to do this myself. If you suspect that you have whatever, endometriosis, POTS, or whatever illness it is, I'm going to do this myself because I think I have POTS or something similar. Write down all the symptoms, and every time you have that symptom, put a check mark next to it.
Yeah. That's exactly what she was doing earlier this weekend or last week, because of the possibility that she may have POTS. Hopefully not. At least it's treatable. We were going through a whole bunch of stuff. And so far, check. Hello. We just discovered POTS. And so hopefully that's not the case.
We'll
But there are a couple of other things that came up, or at least she found. And actually was related to the pain that she has or that we're talking about right now.
And also, I did want to mention, I'm sure you can see my phone in the camera, and for people listening from Spotify, you can record on your phone, at least with iPhone. So if you're going alone, if you're afraid you're going to forget or whatever, record it. They will not mind that at all. At all. I think it's important to do that. All right. The one thing I did want to mention, too, this is another big one in my opinion. Don't confuse you're tired, not you specifically, I'm so sorry, with my fatigue. It is not the same. It is completely different. My fatigue, my mom explained it to me actually really well. I think she said, for somebody with chronic pain and chronic illness, my fatigue is like if I stayed up for 3 nights in a row and didn't sleep at all. That's my everyday life. That's what I'm running on. So when you say you're tired or you say you're tired, I'm like, yeah, probably are tired. I'm tired. But it's not the same thing.
No.
You know, it lists all the things. I don't get restorative sleep. I think that's important to know too. We don't. We're running in the negative. This is for me too. He knows I have to choose the elevator. If there's not an elevator and stairs are the only option, I can't do it, unfortunately. That's just not an option for me. I have to rest after taking a shower. I take baths. But yes, 100%. Getting out of bed is difficult daily. Like I've said many times on this podcast, sometimes that is all I can do in a day. And I have to rest for hours after that. It is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
I have trouble concentrating and focusing. That's true. I feel like there's weights holding me down. Oh, that is so the truth for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how I feel. Simple tasks are not simple for me, and everything is exhausting. By the way, if you're wondering where I'm getting all this information from and you're interested, if you have a chronic illness or you're in a lot of pain or whatever, I'm on Instagram, and this one was dear_chronic_pain. So, and there's several different ones, but you want to read this?
Yeah, what we have here is living with chronic pain is physically feeling like you just ran an entire marathon. That's true. But you just got out of bed.
Yes.
Think about that for a minute. Let that sink in.
Unbelievable. But it's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
And I'm living with her. And
Yes.
I am the proof of it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't happen every day, but
No.
it happens a couple times a week.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, and I never know what I'm going to get in the morning. That's the most frustrating part, in my opinion, is we really can't plan anything because am I going to wake up with energy? I don't know. Fingers crossed that I do, you know?
Yeah, well, if we make plans, we do make plans, but then if we need to, we can just push them to later in the day or another day.
Well, we kind of make plans based on that I'm going to be in pain. Like, for example, we're going to Minnesota to visit his brother and sister-in-law. And one of the activities that is planned, I'm really excited about.
Oh, yeah.
But it's something that I can do where you're sitting down. Well, I'll make sure, we'll probably post a video about that weekend, actually. We'll probably vlog during then, just to show you what we're doing. But yeah, it should be fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you want to read that one too?
Okay, so living with chronic pain is your daily choices being a gamble. Knowing that the pain price might be too high to pay.
100%. Like unfortunately, my nephew recently passed away, my second in 6 months. And we helped clean his house. We went and cleaned out his closet. And the whole next day, I don't think I did anything. I couldn't. I was exhausted. It was just like, it took everything out of me. It's like being drained. Your battery being drained every second. That's totally what it feels like.
Right.
Go ahead. You can read that one too.
Living with chronic pain is also feeling like you're stuck in a body that's over 40 years old. And that's actually...
It's 40 years older than you actually are.
Yeah, I read that wrong. But yeah, 40 years older than you really are.
So that would make me 87.
That would make me 92.
Yeah, well, you don't have chronic pain, but...
That's scary.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not fun, of course. But if you are dealing with chronic pain or chronic illness, please know that we are with you. I understand what it's like. That's why we're making this podcast. So hopefully it'll find people that are in similar situation.
And living with chronic pain is like being trapped inside a prison of uncertainty.
Yes. And I believe this might be the last one now.
Yep, and again, the chronic pain is as if everyone is born with a protective coating of armor on their joints, and I don't have it.
Mm-hmm. That's totally what it feels like.
Yeah.
100%.
No, there's more.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's also never being pain free, but instead having a series of pain levels.
Like I live at a 7, but sometimes it'll go down to like a 5 or a 4, not very often. Sometimes it's at a 10 too, which is unbearable.
Mm-hmm. And like the aftermath of getting hit by a car, but without the hope of rehabilitation.
Yeah, well.
And the chronic pain is like laying on a bed of hot coals with no water to put out the fire.
100%. This is the last one.
And that would be not knowing if something is majorly injured or if it's just Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And so it could be Thursday.
That sounds crazy, but it's true.
Yeah, it could be Thursday or Friday, but it feels like it's Monday.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine that? Every day feels like a Monday? Ugh.
Uh-huh.
Ugh. Awful.
Yeah.
And I want to say to everyone out there, we mentioned this last time, but I think it's important for everyone to be kind to themselves, please. If you are saying bad things about yourself, your brain is hearing that, you are hearing that, your subconscious is hearing that, and that's what you're thinking. So I want to know, I would love for all family members with somebody in chronic pain, having a illness, any kind of anything, to let them know they are not a burden. I think it's key.
Right. Yeah.
This is comforting words to say to somebody with a chronic illness.
Yeah, but it says, I researched your chronic illness.
I mentioned that already. I think it's amazing. I have been close to tears when somebody has said that to me.
And a big one, too. And I believe this. I believe you.
Period.
Yep.
Just those 3 words.
Mm-hmm.
It means so much.
Right.
Perfect.
I just picked up your food and medication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that, where to most people it's no big deal. To me, the thought of making dinner most days is like, oh, exhausting. I can't do it.
Right. And remember, it's okay not to be okay.
It is. It is. It doesn't feel like it most days, but it's okay not to be okay.
And I know you are trying your best, and I am proud of you.
That one makes me want to cry.
Yeah, just last week, I don't remember what she did. And I'm at work, and she told me she was going to do something. She wasn't feeling all that great all week, and she managed to do something. And like I said, I don't remember what she did, but I know it took a lot out of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, I'm proud of you. And I know how that made her feel.
Mm-hmm. It made me feel seen, like you understand that that's such a big deal for me.
Right.
And to say that you're proud of me, oh, my heart.
Yeah. Can I help you with anything?
Just that simple few words. Is there anything I can do to help you? Can I help you with anything?
Don't feel bad for canceling plans, and we've done that a couple of times.
And unfortunately, that is the life of someone with chronic pain, chronic illness. I just never know. I could be having a great day. Matt will tell you this. This has happened so many times. I'll be having a great day. And by great day, I mean like a level 5 of pain or a 6. And a great day. Like I'm doing things. I'm doing my hair, putting makeup on. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I get nauseous. And I'm like, nope, I'm done. We have to cancel everything. And that is frustrating. But that's unfortunately my life. And it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And obviously, this is me, obviously, and she knows it, and she doesn't need me to tell her that. But it says, if you need anything, I'm here.
That's it.
There you go.
Just letting your loved ones know that if you need anything, I'm right there for you.
And it's okay to rest.
That's a big one for me, because I take a nap every day. And I would say 8 days out of 10, I feel guilty about it. But my body is demanding that I rest, and so such is life. I have to listen to it. You know?
Right.
Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So if you know someone that's dealing with chronic pain or chronic illness, I will 100% tell you they do not want to be like that. I say that all the time to Matt, to my family. I would do anything to not be living like this. This is not what I imagined for myself. But unfortunately, this is the cards I was handed. So I'm going to make the best of it. And there's nothing you can do about it. You know, that's just how it is.
Yeah, and she does the best she can. And I am too, and we all give her a lot of credit for doing what she does. And she tries.
I do try. That's, yeah. So this one is, I think, key. It's what chronic pain patient looks like. So again, we talked about this, but I want to say if most of you saw me on the street, I'd probably be smiling. I will tell you I'm fine. You know, stuff like that. But what's actually happening is I can't deal with drama. Drama, it's like too much energy. I can't deal with it. You'd never know I'm in pain unless I told you. Well, you probably would know for me because of the cane, and I walk different when I'm in a lot of pain. And it says internally screaming, which is not the case for me. But, you know, some people probably are. And may have no visible disability. I think that's so key, especially with the handicap sign. I've heard so many stories about people calling people out, or, you know, you just don't know what somebody else is going through, I mean. And that's why, for me, I have the cane, so it's obvious, but I do get nervous sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot. And I mind my own business. I don't need to get my rear kit. But I've heard people make comments, hey, you don't need to be parking on that spot. That's not for you. Get out of there. You better be careful, because you don't know if that person forgot their placard that you put in the mirror, or you really don't know who you're dealing with.
That's very true.
You don't know who you're dealing with.
And this is 5 things I wish others knew about my illness. You can read it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Number 1.
Just because I am smiling doesn't mean I am in pain. I am pain-free.
100%. I will say I'm never pain-free, but I am always smiling. She's smile always through the pain.
She's always smiling. She's always joking around. We have a cat. She's still playing with the cat as if she's not in pain. And I think it's cute.
I'm glad.
If I cancel plans, it's not because I didn't want to go. It's because I physically cannot function. I have friends on Instagram, even before I met her. I have friends on Instagram who have chronic illnesses, not necessarily like hers, and they talk about it all the time. They feel like people are leaving them because they're not interested. It's because of their illness. And if they're not going to respond to you today or tomorrow, it's because of their illness. They don't have the time, or I should say they don't have the energy to respond back. But they'll respond back within a few days or a week. You just got to be patient. My appearance has nothing to do with how I feel. That's true.
But I feel like for me personally, that is very true. I was originally thinking, oh, that's not true, but it is true. Because if I have plans, I'm going to purposely do my hair because I want to, trick my brain into thinking I'm okay, even though obviously I'm not. Put makeup on, do the things that typical people do every day with no big deal. I want to do that because sometimes it does help. Most times makes it worse. But
yeah, that's why I encourage her to do it. I encourage her to do it because I want her to feel beautiful. Because when you're in pain or you're not feeling well, you don't feel beautiful. And look at her. She is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
She is. But you don't feel beautiful when you're dealing with a lot of pain. It says, just because I try to stay proactive or positive, it doesn't mean I am feeling better. Exactly.
That's so true.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk to people about being positive, and it's not easy to be positive when you're in a lot of pain.
It's not.
When I had the, well, some of you, if you watched the other podcasts, we talked about the big surgery that was not even in the cards for me at all back in October. I was not feeling the greatest, but I did put a big front, and I did not feel like being positive either, at all. And if it wasn't for her, I probably, or my family, I would have been pretty negative. Pretty negative.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to go that negative route, but positive.
Yeah.
You gotta try to find the good in everything. That's what I say.
Yeah, and before we go to the last one, I just want to say that when I was laid up because of the surgery, I'll tell you what, I already knew what chronic illnesses was about. But I'll tell you what, it gave me an idea exactly what it's like to have a chronic illness. Thank you.
Thanks, but no thanks, right?
Exactly. My fatigue is not the same as your... Oh, that's a big one.
Tiredness.
Yeah. My fatigue is not the same as your tiredness.
Which we did mention. That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that all the time when I'll be like, oh, I'm so exhausted. Yeah, me too. I'm so exhausted. It's been a rough day. And I'm like, you probably are exhausted. I mean, we're all exhausted, but it's so different. Imagine staying up for 3 nights in a row. Then you know what it's like.
Yeah.
To be me.
Exactly.
It is. I mean, I constantly am shaking. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Very frustrating.
Actually, the shaking was pretty quiet for a couple of days, but it seems to be coming back.
Yes. All right. So I want to end on something that I think is important. It's kind of like a repeat after me type of thing. So I'm going to say it. Matt's going to repeat after me. I want you guys to also repeat after me. I want to hear it. Okay. When I feel tired, I will rest.
When I am tired, I will rest.
Yes. When I feel pain, I will slow down.
When I feel pain, I will slow down.
When I feel guilty, I will remind myself it's not my fault.
When
I feel guilty.
When I feel guilty, I will remind myself it is not my fault.
When I feel like I can't do it all, I will do what I can.
When I feel like I can't do it all, I will do what I can.
When I feel my symptoms flare, I will prioritize recovery.
When I feel my symptoms flare, I will prioritize recovery.
Prioritize recovery.
Yeah.
When I feel sad, I will allow myself to grieve.
When I feel sad, I will allow myself to grieve.
When I feel my body struggling, I will listen and adjust.
When I feel my body struggling, I will listen and adjust.
When I feel unheard, I will advocate for myself.
When I feel unheard, I will advocate for myself.
When I feel hopeless, I will look for small victories.
When I feel hopeless, I will look for small victories.
When I feel overwhelmed, I will choose self-care.
When I feel overwhelmed, I will choose self-care.
When I feel like my pain is endless, I will focus on small moments of relief.
When I feel like my pain is endless, I will focus on small moments of relief.
I think it's important to say those affirmations as much as possible. I know I need to hear it more. I need to say those more. I should probably be saying it every day. So if you're struggling like I am, please say those and keep saying them until you believe them. I think it's so important to just keep saying them until you believe it.
That's right.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's the end of our podcast, number 3 in the books.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for watching. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, we will talk to you again soon.
Thanks for watching and listening. Bye.
Bye.